We've very successfully upgraded our Drupal 6 core to Drupal 7. We see that our content survived the migration. We see that even our menu looks alright. We are, however, missing any component of the site that was put in place by way of module. So the next step in this process is to re-enable all of the old modules that we were using. This is the more laborious part of the upgrade process, although it's really not too difficult. Let's take a look back at our upgrade.txt file. Once we've run update.php and made sure all the settings, permissions, and everything like that is in place, we're going to want to back up the database, once again after running update.php. So if you haven't yet, particularly if you're on a live site, this is where you would want to back up your database, just in case things go haywire. And then, once again, we're going to replace and update our non-core modules and themes. It tells us to use the instructions at this URL. So let's check this out very quickly. Upgrading contributed modules and themes from Drupal 6 to Drupal 7. We're focusing on modules because themes, either there's a new version of them or there's not. And a lot of that has to be customized on a per site basis. It's not nearly as involved of a process as it is for modules. So we're going to check any notes of our own, as well as any upgrade.txt files that happen to be inside each module. This is one step we're not going to be doing because the modules we're working with don't have any upgrade.txt files with special instructions. The first step to updating any given module is to remove the module directory inside site's all modules. Note that this is referring to the individual module folder, not the modules folder that has all of the contributed modules in it. Then we're going to download the Drupal 7 version of the module, unpack it, in other words, extract it, and then place it in the site's all modules directory, just where the old one was. Then we're going to go to our Drupal site and enable the module. We're going to run update.php again, and then we're going to back up our database and files once again after every module we enable, once again just in case something goes wrong. Now, on pretty much any Drupal 6 to 7 upgrade process, the most important information that you're going to want to go ahead and get access to is anything created in custom fields and custom content types. In Drupal 6, that was all handled with the CCK module. In Drupal 7, that's all handled by core. Now, CCK really does an impressive job of helping you along with the upgrade process when you're making the jump from 6 to 7. It does have a few extra instructions. Let's go to the CCK page on Drupal.org. If we scroll down here, we see that there's a link with instructions for migrating Drupal 6 CCK to Drupal 7 fields. So we're going to click on this. This will tell us how to work specifically with the CCK module. We're going to download the 7.x version of CCK, which exists, by the way, purely for the migration process. There's no need for a real CCK module in Drupal 7, once again because it all comes with core. And we're going to enable CCK content migrate, and then we're going to go to this page and follow the instructions there. So we're kind of doing a combination of the instructions on this page and the instructions on this page for CCK in particular. So once again, the first step in all of this is to remove the module directory. So we're going to go to the back end of our site, public HTML, or whatever our Drupal root directory happens to be. We're going to go to Sites, All, Modules, CCK, and we're going to delete it. Now we're going to download the 7.x version of the module and place it back in the modules folder where the old version of CCK was. Now, of course, in Drupal 7, we do have the ability to go to Administration, Modules, Install New Module. We can install directly from URL, and this is generally fine to do. Just to be extra safe though, since the upgrade process is a delicate one, we're going to follow these rules exactly and manually download and extract the module to put it in the modules directory. So let's go back once again to Drupal CCK. Here's the project page for CCK. This, of course, is where we would download the 6.x version if we were still running a Drupal 6 site. For Drupal 7, we're going to go ahead and grab this tar.gz file, or zip if your operating system works better with zip. We can save this anywhere. I'll go ahead and just put this on the desktop. Here's CCK. We're going to extract that. And here's the actual module itself. In my case, I'm going to copy this. If you're using cPanel, or of course if you're on any sort of remote server, you'll be uploading it to your directory. At sites all modules. And there it is. If we go back here, once we've downloaded, unpacked, and moved it here, we're going to enable the module. However, if we read the special steps for CCK, we're not actually going to enable CCK itself, we're going to enable CCK content migrate. So let's go back to our site, and we're going to the page that lists all of our modules. If you ever get lost, this page can be found at Administration and Modules. We're going to scroll down and look for CCK. And here it is. Now notice this is a very helpful thing that Drupal 7 does. If it detects an old version of any of your modules, it'll put one of these big red X's right there to let you know that it can't use this. This is an incompatible version, and it gives you the version number 6.x. That keeps you from being confused as to what's being used, what's not being used, what's compatible, what you have replaced and have not. So pay attention to that. Here, according to CCK's instructions, we're going to simply enable content migrate. So let's do that and then save our configuration. We'll go back here to our CCK specific instructions, and it tells us to browse to structure migrate fields, which will be at this link if we replace example.com with our domain. And then we're going to basically follow the instructions there. So under administration, we're going to go to structure and migrate fields. And here we will have 3 groups of fields. Available fields is the first one. Available fields are fields that have not yet been migrated but are available for migration. It tells us to please read these messages carefully before we do so. So basically it's saying field location. This was our, of course, location field for our events. This one's ready to go. Just make sure you read this first and do anything necessary before you choose to migrate it. But you're pretty much all set. Converted fields are fields that have already been converted. Of course, you can choose to roll them back if the conversion did not work correctly. Note that rolling back fields will completely destroy the new field tables. This cannot be undone. This will give us any field that Drupal 7 was able to convert on its own without any input from us. We see that there are no fields that are already converted. In our case, unfortunately, there were no fields that it was able to automatically just go ahead and take care of on its own. But if there are, it will tell you which ones it took care of for you. And then here we have unavailable fields, which sounds kind of scary, but it's nothing to freak out about. All this means is that these fields under unavailable fields were not migrated because some necessary modules were missing. So all we're going to have to do is make sure we get the noted missing modules in place, and then we'll be able to migrate these currently unavailable fields. We're going to come back to these in a minute. First, let's take a look at this available field, field location. The message we're getting is invalid field widget combination. The field location in the bundle event, in other words in the content type event, is an unlimited length field using a text field widget, not allowed in D7. The field length will be set to 255. So it's just saying, hey, this is ready to go. However, currently you're letting this field be an unlimited length, and we're going to have to change it to a maximum length of 255 if you want to migrate this field. That's perfectly fine with us. So we're going to select this field and migrate it. And we get a warning that's basically just telling us what we just did. And here under converted fields, we now see that field location has been converted.